We're checking into Psyck.
Psyck.
Yo, check it out. It's a sick discussion.
You tuned in to Psyck Discussions. You are now listening to a Psyck Discussion.
Yo, welcome back to another episode of Psyck Discussion.
Sick.
As always, it's your boy, Reggie So Dope.
What up, it's Devin. What's good, this Marv.
And we have another really, really dope episode for y'all today. So today's episode is a little bit more intimate. Ooh. It's a little more vulnerable. A little more in your damn business. And so today we're going to talk about triggers. All right, we're going to talk about what they are, how they exist within our lives, because like triggers exist like everywhere, to be honest. And like my favorite thing is my favorite thing to say rather is like, you don't know your triggers until you're triggered.
Until it's happening. Right.
So let's get into it. What the fuck are triggers?
Marv, want to kick it off?
Okay. So triggers are like a word, like a saying, an action. It could be multiple different things, but it's like just kind of brings like a certain feeling, like a negative feeling, like vibe to you, like to your energy. So it could be something from like the past, like you said. It could be something that when you in the moment, you just realize like, yo, that just made me feel some type of way. But it's just one of those things.
Okay. Dev, you got thoughts?
A little parsley, a little razzle dazzle. Did a little research, and we got two different kinds. We got internal and external triggers. Oh. Internal comes from within the person. It can be a memory, a physical sensation, or an emotion. Then you got external, which comes from the environment. That can be a person, place, or specific situation.
Okay. Good parsley.
Well,
appreciate
little seasoning.
Cool.
Reg?
Cool. Well, I did a little research myself.
Look at us prepared.
Love to see it. According to healthline.com, they really focused on emotional triggers in this article. And it said an emotional trigger is anything, as you said, including memories, experiences, or events that sparks an intense emotional reaction, regardless of your current mood or your current just like state of being. So emotional triggers are associated with post-traumatic stress disorder. And then they provided a few examples. So like the anniversary dates of, lost ones or lost loved ones or trauma, frightening news or events. Even if you got too much to do and you're feeling overwhelmed, the end of a relationship, just if there's just too much of something, or not even too much, if there's just a thing that somehow connects to old memories, old traumatic experiences, then that thing can be considered a trigger.
Well, makes sense.
Yeah. So that's like crazy. It almost makes you feel like next door is a trigger. Like anywhere I go, like damn, the toilet didn't flush. Like it does sound way more scary on that definition than I anticipated. And so my question for y'all is, when did you realize you could be triggered?
When I got triggered. It happened.
When it happened.
When it happened, it happened. I was like, ooh, what's going on? Am I upset? Why am I bothered? What, do I not like this? I guess I don't like this. Like, what's happening? All the thoughts start going through your head and stuff. Oh, yeah. I did on my research journey, it said that our brains store memories from traumatic events differently from non-traumatic events. So like even in your membranes, your brain filing cabinet. I don't know if y'all know what SpongeBob mean when he's filing through the cabinets.
No, facts.
It's like your brain got the traumatic stuff over here and then like the non-traumatic stuff over here. But yeah.
Okay. That's wild. When did you realize you could be triggered?
I don't think I have like a pinpoint exact. I guess it's kind of like you were saying, like it just like I based off of memories. I can't think like exactly when, but I know just like kind of growing up, me and my brother used to butt heads, like just like like siblings like regularly do. And probably like later on down the line, if like a cousin did something, like said something my brother did, like it'll make me like super, super mad. So I didn't probably realize what it was, but like looking back on it, that's literally what that was. Like I was literally being triggered. But as a kid, I was like, okay, like what is this? Like you see like what's happening. I know it's something like it makes you so mad. Like so we were like just get into it. So I said I don't know exactly what age I was or what exactly it was, but I know I remember that from my childhood.
Yeah.
So for me, I think it was high school when I realized I could be triggered. Whenever my mom was like upset with me, she'd always say like, "You just like your daddy," or like, "See, that's that bait side of you." And I was like, well, what the fuck does that even mean?
Excuse me?
You know what I mean? And then like, especially given the nature of their relationship and how she told me it had ended, because this was way before I had the balls to ask my father, you know what I mean, his side.
Right.
And so like, I didn't know why that always pissed me off, but whenever she said it, it just held a very special place and like, fuck you, mom. Like in my soul, but we black, so I could never say it out loud or show it on my
slam
face.
a door.
You know what I mean? Or stump upstairs. Did I tell y'all that story before?
No.
I don't know if this was for the podcast.
Trigger time.
I don't know if that's for the pod.
Trigger time. No, so I just remember there was a time where my sister caught herself being upset because my mama told her to do something, and she like stormed up the stairs. This is when we were living in Riverdale. And so my mom was like, well, since you want to stump upstairs so bad, now you got to walk up and down them until I say stop. Like legit, me being the young pubescent boy that I was, I got the cracking up laughing. That shit was funny to me. Like cause my sister for some reason did not get whoopings. Like she just got punishments, and hers was to walk up and down the stairs. So I'm laughing and shit, and my mama like, well, since it's so funny, you walk with her.
Don't join.
Like what? What? And then that one really pissed me off because after we walked for God knows how long, because who's counting? You're just walking up and down the stairs. My mom asks my sister like, okay, well, how many steps is it? All dumbass kids count the steps. So she's like 13. Cool. Then she asked me, how many times did you go up and down? I don't know. I've been walking for hours. So long story short, I kept walking until she woke up from her nap. So triggered. But yeah. So high school, when I started to realize like some of the things that she said would it would just piss me off. It'll fuck my whole day up.
Thanks for sharing.
Right. Exclusive.
Didn't start working through it until college, but high school, I knew people could say certain things that absolutely pissed me off.
Gotcha.
I feel like
okay.
I can definitely relate.
I see what kind of pod we having today.
Right.
So it's ironic that I just told a story that my mom would intentionally trigger me. Have y'all ever intentionally triggered somebody else? Like you knew that that was their button. You knew that was sending them off. Have you ever pressed a person's buttons on purpose?
You know how Michelle Obama motto is, when they go low, we go high. Well, mine is, when they go low, we kick them. Well, it used to be. It used to be. I used to be that petty person. Like, ooh, now I'm really about to get you. I'm going to press this button. Bloop. Now look, you mad. You madder than I was. But yeah, I used to be like that. Maybe sometimes still today, but I relaxed on the pettiness.
Ooh, but can you recall a time where you pressed somebody's buttons on purpose? Ooh.
Ooh. Story time. Exclusive.
I just changed the name. If I say story time, he's gonna shut down.
How about we go to Marv and then I could revisit.
I'll come back to you. I want to hear this story.
Let's loop back around. Let me file through my cabinet.
Okay. Can do. Suave.
Have I ever? Of course. Back in my toxic days. I definitely did it before. Like looking back now, like I was like, damn, that's fucked up. But because like somebody would tell me something like specifically they did not like, and like if we was heated, I'm gonna do that exact thing. But it's like, damn, that's fucked up. Really to do, like you said, I have to really grow out of that. Like, I let that go a long time ago. I still don't do it. But to answer the question, I definitely used to do it. Not proud of myself.
Okay,
I'm one of those.
All right. What was that thing you did to those people, or one of those people? You knew that was a trigger and you still like, don't care. Boop. Button pressed.
Like you said, just being petty. I know I was dating somebody and like they used to, like when they was like, okay, so I have a thing where I hate when I'm trying to talk to somebody and like, if I'm telling you like, hey Dad, you did A, B, and C. You're like, no, I didn't do that. So I'm eventually like, okay, well shit, you just missed it right. You missed it right. Like every time I try to tell you what you did wrong, you always correct me. Like, no, I didn't do that. Like, no, this is right. This is right. So I was talking to her and like we was having a serious debate and like kind of what I was saying, I was trying to break down some things like, yo, this A, B, and C, we're trying to fix this. And they're like, just deny everything. So I'm like, okay, well, you just missed this right. Like, so I would always say that whenever, like, instead of like trying to communicate the right way, like, yo, I don't like the fact that you like not paying attention to my points. Woo, woo, woo. So I was just like, okay, Mrs. Right, well, whatever. And she just like go cool.
Oh my God.
So
Was this person a Scorpio?
Not the zodiac signs.
And I'm not trying to like identify the person. Look, I know that is a huge trait of Scorpios, and it blows my absolute asshole. Like, y'all, they cannot be wrong for nothing. Like, even if you are absolutely right, they'll still take the wrong perspective just to argue and just like still try to win. Like, why can't we agree? What's wrong with you?
Like, no, it wasn't a Scorpio. It was
Okay.
Leo.
Okay. All right.
Being attacked. The tables have
I was
turned.
gonna say they're toxic too, but we're all toxic,
Oh
so
my
whatever. We're all the hero or the villain in somebody's story. So
Exactly.
Devin, when were you the villain in someone's story? How did you press their button?
Hear it.
One, to go kind of off, when Marvin was telling his story, I thought about something when I was in a relationship. The guy didn't like when I like talk to him and call him like, all right, my guy, or like my nigga, or stuff like that, because they wanted the I don't know, validation, or wanted to be the boo role all the time. So like they would literally be upset if I was just like, okay, my guy. So when we would like argue or disagree, I'll be like, okay, my guy. And they'll be so upset, and I'll be like, ooh,
You right, my boy.
Right.
All right, my dude.
yeah. That's one little petty thing. Like I'm good for a little tit for tat.
Okay.
Okay.
Not anymore. I'm not toxic anymore, guys. If you're listening to this,
You chilled out on the pettiness. Right?
it's toned down. I used to be level 10. Now I'm like level 3.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So with me, it's like much like the Michelle Obama quote, like when they go low. So with me, it's like when they go low, I go to hell. I can get very petty, and I look at petty as a sport.
Like I practice for
Yeah,
this.
you know what I mean? Like
I got this in the
Waited
holster.
for this moment.
like my family prepared me for petty. You know what I mean? So I try not to flex the petty muscle, but some days I wake up and choose violence, and that's all right. So I've absolutely intentionally triggered people.
And some days you gotta choose violence.
Some days,
Some days you gotta choose violence.
some days, absolutely. The last time I intentionally triggered a person,
Yesterday. Today before
today.
yesterday. Last week.
you know, I no,
10
it's not
minutes
like
ago.
that. Yeah,
Let me
so
stop.
like I don't have those type of people really around me for real no more. Where I'm like, I feel like I have to press your buttons to get my point across. Like we just won't communicate. So a person that I'm not communicating with any longer. we had this thing where we would try to talk, and then whenever things were about to get serious or it's about to get emotional, he would like disappear. And I was just like, we're not doing this too many more times. Actually, we're not doing this never. But the thing is, he was like one of those people where he was a poor communicator, like terrible, would acknowledge it, all of that. But then when he's excited, he will want you to text back right away. And like when he initiates the conversation, it's like respond. And then if you initiate the conversation, it's like, oh, I'll respond when I want to. So I stopped responding. And that was a time where legit, bro had texted me at like 6 p.m. Didn't respond until like 9 a.m. the next morning. And I mean, I saw the subtweets and all that, but it's like, no, if this is the game we gonna play,
I recall this.
Let's play this game.
Right.
Like, I'm okay with playing that game. And so then I just realized, like, you bring out the worst of me, and like, I ain't even hit. Like, we ain't in together. Like, we ain't did nothing. We ain't even kissed. Why are we doing this?
It's not the worst of me.
Like, no. So that got canceled.
Talking about, well, that was that.
I'm just full of fucking stories today.
Not this your favorite topic.
I didn't think it would be. I was like, this episode is gonna be short, but bringing out all my little Disney stories. All right. Okay. So, what are some of y'all personal triggers? Since we're also healed these days, you know, these things we should have been able to identify. So, what are some of our personal triggers?
One of my biggest personal triggers is when people aren't or on time or don't like keep their word. And that's really just based on even like I can go back to like my childhood when like my dad would say he would come pick me up at this time and then he like wouldn't come or like just magically forget or it wouldn't happen. So like ever since then I was like, ooh, I hate people that's not on time or don't follow their word. So it's like even now I kind of like flipped it to where I'm like always on time to places or like 10 minutes early just to like even still kind of I guess cope with the not being on time type thing. So that's one big one for me.
Yikes, I got you. Okay, one for me. When y'all was actually reading the definition, and it talked about like the anniversary of like losing a loved one. I didn't really put two and two together, but I can definitely pinpoint one. When my grandmother passed away, I was in college. It was around like March. I know it was around spring break, so I didn't really like have time to process it because like really like next week we're back in school, like orgs, homework, all that good stuff, like work. So I never really had time to process, but I did realize like every time, like, you know, when the anniversary would come up, like I would get like super emotional. But like I was still in school, so I had like a lot to distract me. And then when I got out of school, I didn't really have that much stuff to distract me. So I was like, ooh, I really got to deal with this now. And for the longest, I had no idea how to. So it was really, really rough. So that's like the main one I can think of. Similar to Reggie too, though. My mom used to always like, I was never a bad kid, in my opinion. Let me tell it. But like, when she would get mad at my brother, she would like, oh, like, what kind of sons do I have? But like, my son's like, woo, woo, woo. But I be thinking like, I'm just a quiet kid. Like, I don't do nothing. Like, why get thrown in there? So like, now, like,
I don't even do anything.
To this day, like, that makes me so mad. Like, if she does that, or if somebody else do it, like, I mean, when people say stuff like, oh, niggas ain't shit, like, all men are trash. Like, I don't really take it too personal. Like, it's on social media, but I do like catch myself like, I don't think I'm trash. Like, I think I'm pretty decent. So if you just like group me into something I have nothing to do, and like I literally have like nothing at all to do with it, it will definitely like give me some type of emotion that will trigger me. Those are my two.
Okay. All right. So Dev, we share a similar trigger, but we completely like handle them differently. So like I've had experience as well with like my father who would say, oh, I'm on my way, I'm coming to get y'all, whatever. Like I still remember this one Christmas where he's like, I'm on my way, whatever. Me and my sister got our coat on, we waiting by the door, and like we legit wake up the next morning still in our coats. You know what I mean? So it's like with me, I definitely have this thing with people not honoring their word, especially about pulling up or like showing up. Except the way I deal with it is like I completely shut down my pursuit of being at the place or being somewhere until I know people are en route or even there. And so like when it comes to functions, if let's say we're meeting at 6, until I see the on my way messages or all of that, like I will legit not budge. And like, even though I be telling myself like, all right, let's start getting ready. Something happens. So we're like, until I get confirmation that people where they supposed to be, I won't put in effort. And so I'm like, that's probably not the best way to handle things, but that's legit. That's just how I am. And we're working on that.
I mean, I feel like I still do that sometimes, especially if it's like a kickback or like,
no, dead ass.
I don't know, something not as important. Not important, but not important, like a kickback. Like you could be late to a kickback and not miss nothing. So like, yeah, if it's like kickback and it's 9 o'clock, guess who'll be there at 11? Let me see. Or not come at all.
Who there?
For real.
Who over there?
For real. And that's so crazy because like I host events and I do the events. So it's different when it's like I'm the one. But even still, I catch myself, like let's say I'm cooking for the kickback or whatever. Like I'll still probably be cooking as people arrive because like when I'm not, what's just not happening in my brain is cook it early, get dressed early, now sit and wait. Like, no, I can, especially if it's at my crib, I can wait in bed. Like, y'all better be emotional or I won't be either. Like, so yeah, so that's how it manifests within me. That was a solid round of personal triggers. Y'all want to do one more? Y'all good? Y'all tired of exposing yourselves?
I did too. Yeah, guys. You guys double up on y'all. Go ahead.
I don't have another one right now.
Okay. All right, cool. We'll chill on personal triggers then. So let's say, actually, nah, perfect. So then, how do you know when you're triggered? So we've like identified some of our personal triggers. Like, how do you know? Like, damn, that it got me again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I would say back to the whole emotional reaction thing. Even like you can start to feel it, but even before you even know, like you're triggered, it's like that emotion that it could be anxious. It could be so many different emotions that just cause your trigger. Mm-hmm. So just when I'm feeling like that, I don't even know how to explain it, but like when it's happening, I know it's happening. And it's like, ooh, nigga's not on time. I'm upset.
Yeah.
Now I'm furious.
Okay. I do have something we didn't get into, but so how do I know when I'm being triggered? Like if it's in the moment, I'm definitely a person to shut down. Like I'll just fall back into my own little shit. Like I'm gonna be quiet, and then I just like think about it, and it really hits me like, damn, it got me again. Like later on, when it's like shit, the next day I'm still thinking about like, damn, it probably wasn't that big of a deal. Like whatever it was to make me feel that way, I'll definitely still be thinking about it like way after it happened. Probably like a day or two later, like, damn, like that low key fuck with me. So that's when it really clicked, like, damn, that shit fuck. Like I didn't know I was triggered, but it's 2 days later. They probably going about they jolly old way. They ain't even thinking about it no more, but it's definitely still messing with me. So that's my moment when I know, like, damn, it got me again, bro.
That's so fucking crazy because that's exactly how I am. Like, I'll just be cursing, I'll be venting, and then I'm like, fuck, man, it got me
now
again.
I'm here
And like, then it's like,
message.
now I'm even more upset that it's like,
it's
got
like,
me
now I'm upset that I'm upset.
I'm upset that I'm upset. And some days I'll take it off as a joke where I'm like, woke up and chose violence. But it was like, why did I wake up and choose violence? Something triggered me yesterday. You know what I mean? Like it's so crazy because I just love to live in the moment. And so when I'm in the moment, I'm feeling it. But then as it started to subside and I was like, fuck, I was
this really just happened.
Damn, I was really sad. Like,
I have to choose violence?
You know what I mean? Like, I'm doing it again.
And I told myself I was going to do better.
Man.
But here I am on petty level 10.
Got me
with my petty boots on.
Legit. Now I'm back. Now I'm this guy again. Now here it goes.
Now I'm the bad guy Chung Lee.
Yeah. And I think I do really good when I can immediately vent. So like I'm one of those people where I don't do well when I keep things bottled in. So like I have to call somebody to like express myself, one, to get that off of me. So that's very selfish, but you know, I got a tribe who understands. But then two, to also receive additional perspective just in case I'm tweaking. Cause sometimes I can tweak. Like I'm entitled to tweak. I'm human. But that is good and bad because if I'm venting and I'm trying to get another perspective and the perspective validates like actually no, like Reggie, you're in the right space with your thoughts. Now I'm even more triggered. I'm like, you bitches playing in my face. Okay. You know what I mean? Like now y'all want to try me.
Y'all gonna do this to me?
Okay.
In front of my kids?
Oh my God.
Nah, for real. So it's interesting. Like triggers are definitely one of those things where again, you could try to prepare for it. You could try to plan.
No way around it.
You can't. Then you give your Denzel speech on training day.
I'm done.
You gonna be playing basketball in Pelican Bay. You think you can do this to me?
Nah, legit though.
Yeah, that's real.
That's real. Okay. So when we identify like, man, I have been triggered. It is happening. Here it is. What are some of your coping mechanisms to get back good? Like, fuck, you're triggered now. Let me be untriggered. How do you do that?
Kind of go off what you just said. You can call on your tribe and try to like talk it through and see like if you're in the wrong, they'll tell you if you're wrong. If you're in the right, they're in the right. Another thing that I do now that kind of helps is exercise. So once I'm doing like a physical activity, and like getting out frustrations while lifting or doing push-ups or something, like that really helps like calm down the like anxiety aspect of like the anxious and like kind of get back level-headed. So that's kind of one new thing that I kind of do.
Okay.
That helps a lot.
Okay. Similar to y'all, sometimes I call people, sometimes I don't. I just try to, like, you know, depending on what it is, I really just try to like think it through. Like, okay, like let me regather myself. Like they got me off my square, outside of character. Like it just took control of me. So I'm like, okay, let me like take a step back. Let me take a deep breath. Like it's over with.
Mm-hmm.
Like let me try to figure out like how to handle it better next time. So I definitely like internalize solutions, like how to catch myself quicker in the moment, and then like I said, I'm usually one to like shut down, but I try and figure out other ways to handle it a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I didn't even realize, like I said, similar to you, I didn't even realize that was a coping mechanism. I do call people, but like I only want to hear perspectives that are similar to mine. Like, like if you tell me
you don't agree with me, okay, bye.
I was like, damn, I feel like, damn, I hate to hear it, but I'll be low key salty that they didn't agree with me. But that do kind of get me back on my square too. Like hearing somebody that tell me like, okay, bro, you tripping. But the people that do tell me, I don't think it amplifies my pettiness or my anger, but it does make me feel a little bit better. Like, I know I'm not tripping. Like, okay, I can get past this now because it's not just me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so those are the ways I cope with it.
Okay. Shut down is like my go-to, which is probably not the healthiest, but like for me, emotions are just always somewhat extreme. You know what I mean? Especially once my mental also connects to the emotion. Now I'm like, all everywhere. This can go any type of way. And so I kind of shut down to try to like stop it from going to places
overflowing.
Have to go. Yeah. So I'll shut down. I'll put my phone down. I'll do all that.
Light your candle.
Yeah. Now I walk around the crib like, this motherfucker, man. You want to try me?
Yeah, bro.
But then immediately I'm calling somebody to see like, do you have time? Do you have capacity? And I vent in kind of like sections. First, it is, let me say whatever the fuck comes out. So it might be jokes, it might be ignorant, it might be some of the most vile, heinous things you can hear, but it's like, whatever this is, I gotta let that out first. And then it's kind of like story time. Like, let me tell the story XYZ and why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling. And so after I've vented out my frustrations, then I've told it, possibly even 2 different ways. Then I'm okay with feedback. You know what I mean? So like that's really how I vent. Is like, let me wild out first because I got to talk my shit. And then let me like, after I wild out with what took place, and it's like, nah, let me really give you the step by step of what happened as I can recall it. Explaining why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling along the way. And then after that, you can give me whatever feedback. But if you attempt to insert your feedback in any of the other previous moments, I will just hang up and act like the phone did. Like legit, like I'm venting right now. Like I will open up space for feedback.
The floor will be open.
You know what I mean? Like I will open up space for feedback.
But now it's closed.
Because now you triggering me, and now I'm gonna have to call somebody else to tell them how you've made it worse. You know what I mean? Like now you've made it worse. So now you're also in the story with your old dusty ass. So just honor my process and getting things off of me. But like again, I will always ask if a person has capacity or if they even have space to take on what I'm about to put onto them, because that's important.
Yeah, and then even another thing that I used to do, but I haven't really done it, is like kind of writing or journaling in like my notes. If I'm really like upset and don't really want to talk to anybody about it, I jot it down, write a few paragraphs, and then like just leave it, because like now it's all that energy for me is like transferred into the notes, so then it's just like there and not in me anymore. And that way I don't have to bother anybody or feel like a burden. Not feel like a burden, but like, oh, I don't feel like calling Reggie today, and like he might be going through something. We just talked yesterday and he was going through this thing with his family type thing, so I'm not going to call him and blow up his line with my shenanigans type of thing.
That's real.
Yeah.
That's real. Yeah, I think writing is essential for me. Y'all, like, I got so many poems just from like y'all got me fucked up. But I think writing only comes into place for me if it's on my mind for multiple days. Or if it's a super extreme, I'm like, nah, this gotta hit some paper. But for the most part, if it's like, okay, it's been 3 days, it's been 2-3 days, maybe even a week, and I'm still thinking about it, now I have to let it live on the pages because I don't want it to live in my mind anymore. So yeah, so that's why it's like I don't write every day, but it's some heat in that notebook. It is some absolute heat, man. Like I just need a few more. And I'm gonna drop my album like Adele did. You know, Heartbreak and Anger creates some of the best fucking bodies of work.
Okay, Mary J.
Honestly,
Keisha Cole.
But it's love in they shit too, though. It's like I loved you, then you broke my heart. For me, it's like we was alright, but you done fucked up.
Okay.
All right, so let's go ahead and wrap this thing up, then, man. Let's bring it home. What advice do y'all have for a person that hasn't identified their major triggers yet?
Bless you, because you might not have any triggers. If something by now hasn't sent you over the edge, then you are just the luckiest person in the world. But if you're listening to this pod, I'm sure you reflected and felt a few triggers, or you're like, ooh,
We hope.
this thing triggered me.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if I have any advice for off the top of my head. Maybe when you guys start talking, maybe I'll get a little razzle dazzle or parsley. But right now, I feel like everybody should be triggered sometimes.
Your perfect ass childhood, your non-trauma having ass. How dare you fucking come into the world like God meant for it, and you just do well in life, bitch. You trust fund having hoe. How dare you never eat ramen noodles or sleep on the floor. How dare you never heat up your hot water on the stove and y'all gotta take hoe baths.
Oh my God.
How dare you never have a sock bag and you can't find matching socks, bitch.
Oh my God.
From the struggle.
Never have a hand-me-downs, asshole.
Struggle.
Talking about so Marv. Any advice?
Get it out
You
your
can go for
chest.
5 more minutes if we let them.
Your good ass health insurance. Your $50 having ass at the Scholastic Book Fair.
Oh, not the Scholastic Book Fair. Now I'm triggered. Oh my God.
All the
That's
wrestling
it.
pay-per-views y'all used to order at your house, bitch.
That's trigger everybody listening.
Oh my God.
Never had bread.
Your good ass AOL dial-up.
Oh my God.
Mine took 10 minutes. Yours took 3.
I'm so damn,
Oh.
bro. But anywho, yeah, back to the
So Marv.
back on track, guys.
Sit with your banquet pot pies and we eating Salisbury steak, bitch.
Oh,
I'm done.
All right. So,
All right.
advice for people who haven't identified their triggers. Marvin.
Okay, so back to the advice, guys. Okay, for people that haven't identified their triggers, I feel like when we were talking about the coping mechanisms, it's a lot easier said than done.
Yeah.
And you can try to figure out ways before, but until you're in that moment, that's when you really figure out how you like deal and work through those triggers. So definitely, like I said, just pay attention to, like you said, after you figure out what triggers you, definitely try to find some healthier ways to cope with it. Because like shutting down and just letting it, brush by like it never happened, those aren't the best ways to deal with it. So when you recognize it, try to figure out healthy ways to actually deal with it.
That's really good. Yeah, my only advice would be really, really talk about emotions a little more often. And as you become used to talking about emotions, then we could talk about extremes. You know what I mean? Where your emotions have had extreme changes abruptly. Or when you've had an emotion that lasted an extended period of time. Again, not to say that everybody got forms of PTSD. I just know growing up black really does come with PTSD. Right? There's post-traumatic stress or post-traumatic slave. We got forms of why the fuck does that make me feel some type of way within all of us? So I would say begin to talk about those emotions more so that you can observe and recognize patterns of extreme emotions or the same emotion for extended periods of time, because there may be a trigger that lie in there somewhere.
And it's like at the end of the day, the ultimate goal is to be able to like detach from that trigger, recognize it, and then learn how to cope with it. So that's really the synopsis of this whole episode.
Facts. Well, we potting now. We are potting now.
Look at us.
Jay, look at us. Never having about $1 store ass bitch.
God.
Back to it.
$1 store lotions. All right, for real. Let me quit. Quit playing. You niggas never got that popcorn on Christmas.
Not back to the popcorn. Next episode, I'm bringing in a can of popcorn.
Hey, we gonna call it a wrap. Thank y'all so much for listening. Before I keep playing to everybody's faces, as always, the world is sick,
but good conversation is the cure.
And with that, we are out.
6666666. Shout out to Champion for sponsoring this episode. Look at Reggie if we on YouTube.
On the low. hey, Champ, what's up? Holla at us, B. Shoes, jogging pants, all that.
I'll fit it up.
Yeah.